I'm AP Tally, and this is Roleplay Culture. Today we're going to examine underrated spells for the holiest of warriors, the Paladin. But this leaves us in a bit of a conundrum. With the exception of different Smite spells and maybe Fine Steed, we could consider all the spells for the Paladin as underrated. I mean, all Paladins want to do with their spell slots is just Smite, right? For the new players who are watching, let me explain. Paladins are martial characters who get some spellcasting. They also get a big ability known as Divine Smite, which allows them to spend their spell slots to do extra damage with their attacks. Which means, outside of the Smite spells, which do kind of the same thing, they don't really bother casting any spells. So let's examine what spells might actually be worth casting instead of saving those spell slots for smiting. We'll do one spell for each level, levels 1 to 5. We also won't include subclass spells here. That's another show. Number 1, Divine Favor. This spell gets a lot of crap because the damage is objectively worse than similar spells like Hunter's Mark and Hex. But it's a good spell for the Paladin, and here's why. You cast it using your bonus action, and it does require your concentration. It does 1d4 radiant damage every time you hit. So what are its advantages over the previously mentioned spells? Well, for one, normal paladins just don't get those other spells. The extra damage from those spells is also the same as the weapon or spell that uses them. Divine Favor uses radiant damage, which is great against certain creatures like undead. Hex and Hunter's Mark also require you to continue to use your bonus action to move the spell from one target to another after you kill them. Divine Favor just doesn't have this issue. Having said that, if you're facing undead or outsiders, smiting might still be the best option, as smites just get bigger damage. But if you can hold on to your concentration long enough, the damage from the first level spell, they can generate quite a bit over time considerably. Or just do both. Number 2, Warding Bond. This second level abjuration spell is kind of weird and a little hokey of a choice. It takes an action to cast, doesn't require concentration, and lasts for an hour. It requires 2 50 gold piece platinum rings. It basically marries 2 characters together. As long as the target is within 60 feet and you're still conscious, the target will get +1 to AC and their saving throws. And they also get resistance to all damage. However, you take the same amount of damage. So it's basically like spreading the damage between 2 different people, though you do round down odd numbers, so some of that damage will get lost in the calculations. It's an interesting little strategic spell that lets you buff a squishier character and soak some of their damage for them. It lasts a good while, so you can cast it before going into that Mind Flayer's lair so that, you can die together.
He's here.
Number 3, Aura of Vitality. Players rarely take any of the aura spells, which is a shame because they're pretty good. 1 action to cast, lasts for 1 minute, with concentration, creates an aura around you with a radius of 30 feet. You can use your bonus action each round to heal 1 creature that's in the aura, which could include yourself, of 2d6 hit points. This might not sound like much, but over the course of a minute, that's equal to 20d6 points of healing. So, pretty good. And once the spell is going, it only takes your bonus action to heal every round, which makes what you do in battle a little more interesting than just smiting stuff over and over again. Number 4, Aura of Life. Much like the previous example, this spell takes an action to cast, lasts a minute, requires concentration, and creates a 30-foot radius aura around you. Any ally within this aura has resistant to necrotic damage, which ain't nothing. Also, if an ally starts in that aura at 0 hit points, they regain 1 hit point. That could definitely save a life. But it's the last protection that's most important. The ally's hit point maximum can't be reduced. So why is that important? To answer that, we have to make a consideration. At this time, our character is at least 13th level. The enemies they face at this level are considerably nasty and have very nasty abilities. One of which can be an ability that can reduce your hit point maximum of any character by some measure of that damage taken. That means that character won't be able to be healed up to their maximum hit points. And if they're reduced to 0 hit points this way, well then they usually just die outright and then turn into something horrible that can threaten the rest of the party. I'm talking specters, wights, vampires, demon lords. This type of damage can be incredibly debilitating to a party, and having the ability to shield them, that's real special. Not to mention, this spell, and most of the ones on this list, are pretty unique to the Paladin, not counting subclasses, of course. So that kind of makes it interesting too. Number 5, Destructive Wave. This 5th level evocation spell is a pretty rare one, and it only appears on the Paladin list and the Tempest Cleric. Up until now, we've mentioned a lot of spells that use concentration, so a spell that just blows stuff up is a welcome change. With an action, you create a 30-foot burst from you. Paladins really like those 30-foot areas around themselves, don't they? It's like a safe space. Each creature of your choice in that area will make a Constitution save. They take 5d6 radiant or necrotic damage, your choice, and 5d6 thunder damage, and they are knocked prone. If they make the save, they aren't knocked prone and they take half damage. There are 2 things about this spell that I really like that might be missed. The first is that it only requires verbal components, meaning that you can perform this spell even with that sword and shield in hand, or if you're tied up or restrained. The other is that the spell avoids friendly fire. Unlike a fireball, you can choose not to hit your allies who are in that spell's area. It's very handy with all those aura effects that want to keep your allies close to you. In fact, quite a few Paladin-specific spells have verbal components only. All the Smite spells, all the aura spells, something to keep in mind for future. Well, that's our list of 5 underrated spells for the Paladin in D&D 5e. If you want more videos like this, you're going to have to subscribe, smash the like button, leave a comment below, share with your friends, ring the bell, and I'll see you in the parlor.